Am I the asshole for reminding my coworker that I don't answer to him? My wife had a wreck 4 months ago and hasn't quite been cleared to drive by her doctor. Since then, I have taken up taking our daughter to daycare before I go to work. Daycare doesn't open until 7:15 and I was scheduled to be at work by 7 o'clock. I talked with my boss about it and he said that it's fine if I clock in at 7:30 instead of 7 o'clock so I have time to take my kid to daycare. This has been going on for about 3 months now and there's one coworker who noticed I come in 30 minutes later than everyone else. He decided to make mention of it and I said, I had something come up and now my schedule is 7:30, to which he responded, well the posted schedule says you're supposed to be here at 7 o'clock, so I'm confused. It was early in the morning and I'll admit I snapped a bit because it felt like he was asking too many questions for something that really didn't concern him. So I said plainly, that's an agreement between me and the boss and last time I checked it has absolutely nothing to do with you. He got butthurt and said I didn't have to say it like that, but he finally got my point. Am I the asshole? Not the asshole. He overstepped and was asking something that wasn't his place. You were much nicer about it than I'd have been. Not the asshole. Nosy people straight answers. Not the asshole. If he'd just accepted it wasn't an issue the first time you told him it wasn't an issue, you wouldn't have needed to shut it down. Not the asshole. But if he is a coworker who can't start certain tasks until you get there, you should let him know that you'll be coming in at 7:30. And honestly your boss should just change your schedule to the correct times so that there isn't an issue going forward. Not the asshole. It's a half-hour change in the schedule, no a paid week off. Coworker was just being a busybody. I might get some flack but I think yeah it's not his business but if he needs your help with something and you weren't around when your schedule said, he might have been confused which led to the conversation. You don't owe him anything but don't be surprised if this conversation happens again until they update your schedule. Hope your wife is on the mend. Not the asshole. Sometimes all you can do is be a bit mean and snap at the nosy Nancys to make them go away. Of course they get their feelings hurt because they feel entitled to all the information. Not his business. Not the asshole. His phrasing was definitely one where he was trying to pick a fight with you, whether it was intentional on his part or not. I believe that your response was correct or else he would have kept pressing on it. Not the asshole. You sternly reminded him of his place. It wasn't any of his business and he should have dropped it when you replied the first time. Info, was he actually being nosy about it or was he just asking you? Maybe he needed your assistance on something first thing and was legit confused by the posted schedule and your new hours. Your boss is the real culprit. If you have an exception, he can post the schedule accurately. Pure accountability is productive. It's probably shitty that they feel someone is scheduled to share the load of work during that time and you waltz in 30 minutes late every day. Info, have you talked to your boss about him pestering you? Not the asshole. He really thinks if you were just coming in a half hour late for 3 months your boss wouldn't notice? You clearly have an arrangement, and even if you didn't, like you said, none of his beeswax. He's not your employer, your punctuality is none of his concern. Honestly I'm confused by all the NTs. If you were the coworker, wouldn't you think it was unfair that someone got special treatment with no explanation? He could probably have stated it nicer. But if the positions were reversed, wouldn't OP want to know why this guy got to come in late every single day for 3 mo? How is it not a coworker's business that one person gets special treatment? Don't coworkers need to cover for a missing person on a shift? I'm going to say everyone sucks here because the coworker could have asked nicely. OP could have been more understanding rather than so entitled that his coworkers must cover for him with no explanation. But mostly the boss for dealing with this so poorly. Boss should have changed the schedule to avoid this. Not the asshole. Sometimes you need to be a bit forceful to keep the busybodies out of your face. He can mind his business. Not the asshole. Your coworker isn't your boss. Not the asshole. He's being passive-aggressive and nosy. You gave him more of an answer than he deserved. Not the asshole. Plain and simple. Not the asshole. Some people have coworker and boss confused, so you just helpfully clarified the difference for him. Not the asshole. True, you could have been nicer, but you're clearly going through a lot right now. Also, your coworker isn't your boss and it's none of their business why you get to work when you do. All the best, Op. Not the asshole. Let them get as butthurt as they want. I wouldn't even have given them the courtesy of an explanation. You were polite. Doesn't sound too bad to me. Did you yell? Or were you just firm? Assuming you didn't yell, then not the asshole. Not the asshole, I fucking hate that too. I have a coworker who was constantly checking in on my schedule, asking what time I started work, when time will I log off, how much time I will be billing our client. We work a flexible schedule. I can start and stop whenever I want as long as I'm available for contact during the day. The answer is always, I bill as much time as I work. No more no less, stop asking. Not the asshole, he tried to put you down. Not the asshole. Why is it any of his business? Does he pay you? Does he set your schedule? Then not his business. He was poking his nose where it didn't belong, but you didn't have to snap at him. He wasn't being intentionally rude. I imagine he just wanted to know what circumstances he could be allowed to routinely come in late under. Since everybody seems to not be able to read both sides, I'll do it. Nah. Or, why? Because he sees Op gets to come into work late every day while everybody else has to come in at a different time. If he didn't know about your circumstances, all he sees is the boss showing blatant favoritism. Now if he keeps pestering you after you tell him something important came up and boss knows you have to come in late, then he's ta. Otherwise you're getting worn perks that no one else gets. Nah, not the asshole. Can totally see how it would rub you the wrong way. Lots of people say, I'm confused, because they're low-key trying to stir shit, but he may not have meant it like that. I would have just said, I guess the schedule wasn't updated, and if he kept on then I would push back like you did. I hope you can clear the air with him anyway. Not the asshole. It's none of his business, and I think you sometimes don't really have a choice but to be snappy, to make people understand that it's none of their business. Not really the asshole, but you could have told him. He was wondering why you used to check in 30 minutes later, and it's perfectly justifiable for him to ask you. Although, he could have talked to the boss instead. You are the asshole. Your boss should have mentioned your updated schedule to your colleague, and you should have mentioned it to them out of courtesy. I don't think you would have appreciated had the roles been reversed. Saying something like, I had something come up and now my schedule is 7:30, sounds a bit flippant and makes it seem like you decided to make your own schedule. Not the asshole at all. It's your boss's job to ask these kinds of questions if it's a problem, which it wasn't with you because you'd already spoken with your boss prior. This guy is just a nosy and trying to get you into trouble. If I were to guess, I'd say you're probably better at the job than him and he's looking for an excuse to get at you. Edit to add that I hope your wife is okay. Not the asshole. People need to worry about themselves, not others. Not the asshole for telling the wannaboss to shove off. Not the asshole. I feel that people like your coworker need a little reality check every now and then, that they are not entitled to stick their nose everywhere just because the urge strikes them. Not the asshole. To be honest, people in the workplace get butthurt over little petty things like that for no reason at all. OMG, like why does he get to start at 8 when rest of us have to start at 7? In the early morning when you are tired and more irritable, it is normal to have less patience for shit like this. There is always that one worker who tries to police others, and ends up being a snake who rats people out to the management. Fuck 'em. Not the asshole. If it concerned him, the boss would have notified him. And maybe you didn't need to say it like that, but he apparently couldn't take the hint any other way. No assholes here. From his perspective, he sees a colleague who gets to waltz in whenever they feel like it. He don't know about your arrangement until you said there is one. The air is cleared, as much as it needs to be. If you feel like it, you could tell him why you do come in late, but that it's your business to choose to share or not. Not the asshole. You explained it and then he had to push it. So I'm confused. Is so passive-aggressive and irritating. Not the asshole. This is a clear equity versus equality issue. I work with children and they understand that things might not always be equal, but they will be equitable between them. Some kids need a fidget to help concentrate, some don't. Some need extra help during transitions, some don't. I always remind my kids when they ask why something is different for them that it isn't their business and everyone is getting what they need. Not the asshole. Right now I come in an hour last most nights cause I'm going to school and that doesn't get out till 10 p.m. and my shift starts at 9 p.m. Do I come in late and stay late? At first people asked me, then I told them and they were like okay. Your coworker could have just asked you why you were late instead of trying to make it seem like you were just constantly late all the time. Not the asshole. Little pissant wanted to act like a big shot and now his ego is wounded. Boo-hoo. Don't put on the chumsuit if you don't want to be eaten by sharks. Not the asshole. Not sure why your coworker needed to butt his ass into this. He is an employee the same as you. When you come into work is between you and the employer. Anyone else? Don't matter. Not the asshole. It's none of his business. Not the asshole. He's not confused anymore, right? Problem solved. I had a similar-ish situation. The way I handled it was, it's okay if you're confused. And ended the conversation and went about my day. You don't have to explain it to him or figure out where the confusion is. Not the asshole. It's the, I'm confused, part that tips the balance here. While you were a little bit of a dick, the frustration is understandable. It wasn't a situation that involved him. I understand being curious, but still. Mind your own business. End of story. Not the asshole. Not the asshole. I had a coworker just like him, and she had a habit of wanting to know as to why this person called out, came late, etc. If she did not like the answer anyone gave her, then she'll go to HR and complain. Your coworker is not your boss, so he had no right to know why you get to go to work later than him. If he ever does it again, then report him. I'd tell him you have a schedule worked out with the boss, which you did, and that you feel he's creating a hostile workplace with his refusal to act his wage. That if he wants to discuss it, he should take it up in private with your boss or you'll take it up with our. Edit. Oh yeah, not the asshole.